I'm Eddie Cannell.
And I'm Tom Cannell.
Welcome, everyone. This is the Mortgage Brothers Team Podcast. We're at it again. And this week, we are talking about guest homes.
Casitas. That's right. I guess they could be called detached, whatever you want. What are they called? Man caves, woman caves.
That's right. Any Airbnb caves?
Airbnb caves. Anything that is not attached to the home. We're going to call a casita today.
That's right. And folks, if you want to receive timely notifications when we actually release our podcast, we release it once a week, usually on Tuesdays. Just please subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. Or if you're watching it from a podcast player, just subscribe to that. And you'll get notifications when we release the podcast.
Awesome.
And okay, so these casitas, these guest homes.
Yeah, can I just throw this out there?
Oh, yeah.
And I think you brought this topic up. So why are we talking about this? Are you going to go buy one yourself, or what? Why are we talking about it?
Well, I have thought about building a casita.
Okay.
The guest home out there in the backyard. And every single time I think about it, I kind of have to think long and hard, and I kind of get discouraged about building one because of the consequences, to the value, or to potentially the value. I might not get my money back, and that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay, how casitas affect money? Maybe not money in your wallet, eventually money in your wallet, but really value. How do casitas affect the value of your home? And this relates mainly to our borrowers that are calling in primarily for refinancing.
Correct.
Right? So from a refinancing perspective, there's also a purchasing perspective. And then in your case, there's a building perspective. So maybe we just talk about the refinancing perspective first. How casitas affect our borrowers that are refinancing?
Okay, so if you purchased your home and the casita was already on the lot, okay, so the scenario would be you bought it, someone else already built it, great. Okay, you go to get your home appraised. What you're going to notice is that your casita will not be included in the home square footage. So let's say you have a 3,000 square foot home and a 1,000 square foot casita. You will not see under the total square footage of the home 4,000 square feet. You're just going to see 3,000, and the appraiser will do we call it a line item adjustment for your guest house or casita. And what we are noticing in any folks out there who've had casitas or guest homes appraised, you'll notice a line item adjustment. And a lot of times they're just going to be 20,000, sometimes 15,000. It's really maybe 30,000.
Yeah, to kind of give you some perspective, we've had borrowers, with home values of 400,000, 500,000, 6, 7, 8, and they have casitas, some bigger, some smaller. But they'll call and they'll say, "Holy mackerel! Why on this line item adjustment did the appraiser give my casita such a low value?" I think they forgot. That's what it is. They totally forgot.
It must be a mistake.
Got to be a mistake. Can you call them? Or actually, can I call them? It's like, well, let's just slow down here, because we come across this, every time that there's a casita involved, which is why we're having this podcast. So yes, there's a line item adjustment, and the value is always going to be much lower than what our borrowers think it is.
So if the borrower who is trying to refinance their house that already has a casita, if they were to go back and look at their appraisal when they bought the house, they will also notice they bought the home and there was a line item adjustment.
That's actually a really good point.
But, they always forget about that they bought the home for whatever it was and didn't look at it then. It's only when you're disappointed in an appraisal where you really examine it.
Right. And when you get disappointed, it's you're refinancing for a rate and term, and you want to get maximum value for your home so that your loan to value is as low as possible to get the best pricing. And if you're off, again, whatever the amount is, it just can sometimes frustrate borrowers. The situation where borrowers can be even more frustrated is when they go and they build a new home or a new casita. Like you, Ed, you might build that one day, and you go to, you have this big plan. I'm going to build it for 80,000, and then I'm going to do a cash out refi. I won't be able to get all my money out of it, but I know the loan to value on cash out refi is limited to 80%, so maybe I can get 80,000 out of it.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to build a little casita for more, for really less than $70,000 probably.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the average range is going to be some 70 to maybe 120.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only going to borrow anyone who owns these homes and is trying to rebuild. They're only going to get a $20,000, $25,000 line item adjustment on their appraisal for it.
So that our borrowers don't think literally that they're only getting 20,000, even though our point today is that your value will be lower than you think. You also talked about some of what we call it stolen value. That's not a technical term, but there may be a line item adjustment of 20K, 30K, whatever it is, just call it really low number.
Right.
The casita. But isn't the main house getting some benefit?
An appraiser would say no. But I do think my off the record answer, and my gut feeling is that when you purchase a home and you're looking at a home that's a 3,000 square foot, main house and a 1,000 square foot casita, and you write that contract to that seller for $600,000, let's just say, when that appraiser gets that contract and they look at the comparable sales, again, I think that a lot of times the value on a purchase, the contract price actually influences that appraisal differently than on a refinance. I think in that sense, if we call it stealing value, the appraiser will only still give a line item adjustment, but they might kind of beef up the home, the main home, the 3,000 square foot home, for example. They might beef up that price.
Value. Okay, so that's what we mean by kind of stealing or stolen value.
Now, what I said, the appraiser will probably not agree. Appraiser will probably never say that.
Sure. Okay, so that's very, very interesting from a refinancing perspective, from a purchasing perspective.
Yeah, and I think we forgot to say that what appraisers are doing. So how do they value? Like, where do everyone out there when they're thinking of appraisals, how do we value? How do these values come to be? And that's from comparable sales. And so appraisers are looking for homes that are similar and have recent sales. They're looking for homes that are similar square footage, similar quality. And if it has a casita, the appraiser is going to looking for other homes with casitas and guest houses. And it's casitas and guest houses are rare. So it's very hard to find.
Kind of like dating. When you go out, looking for a date, you want to find someone about your age, kind of, about, what you think and believe. You can't go on a date.
That's a good example. Yeah.
Right. You can't go on a date with an 80-year-old if you're 30. I guess you can. But that's what appraisers look at, and it's time and it's quality. So time factor, quality factor, and when you boil down to it, there are a lot of neighborhoods that just don't have a lot of those comps.
Absolutely.
And if they do, what's the time aspect? Well, some are too old. Okay, let's get one right in the sweet spot. Three months ago, well, it's a totally different casita. That's an old airport hangar that was,
yeah. Some of those casitas out there that people have. And out there, I mean, they're just bad.
Right.
They're hardly inhabitable.
Right.
Versus, there are some that are just as nice as the main livable space.
Yeah. Okay. So that was good. We talked about the valuation. We're obviously not appraisers, so we're not speaking from any type of appraisal authority platform here, but we're just kind of giving you a lender's perspective on what we think borrowers would want to know when it comes to casitas. Again, refinances, you're going to be careful about the loan to value component because it's going to affect pricing. From a purchase perspective, I think you'll be happy. You will actually like appraisers when it comes to purchasing a casita, because the appraisal is probably going to come down a little bit lower than what your purchase price is, because you, the buyer, will be giving more value to the casita than what the appraiser is. Yeah,
it's harder for and the reason why that is, it depends, right? I mean, if the listing, when listing agents, if they're not reasonable with the price, if they're not careful, they're going to be selling that home for a higher value than what it'll appraise for. And I think that it's the burden's on the appraiser to go out there and find comparable sales. And it will be probably hard for them to find comparable sales.
Yeah. And
I think that's kind of what you're, to your point.
It was kind of twofold. Also, I know that there's situations where, the buyer, and I have friends and family that have been involved in this, where they actually have more value that they put onto this casita because it really does serve a utilitarian purpose, which is it's going to be an in-law suite. It's going to be a Grammy suite. It's going to be a little kid's house suite. There's real value there. It's worth more than $20,000. So appraisal or Mr. Appraiser, thanks for giving it a $20,000 or $30,000, line item value, but I'm valuing it for $60,000 and I'm paying it, paying $60,000 for it. I'm not telling the seller that, but in the whole grand scheme of things, and as a result, we'll be limited to whatever the appraised value is, the lower of the appraised value or the sales price.
Yeah.
And if you're coming, to the purchase with enough equity, then you're able to bridge that gap. But typically from a purchase perspective, borrowers will be happier than from a refinancing perspective.
Yeah, they get a deal. They get the deal on when they purchase a home with Casita.
A little bit of a deal. That's right.
They find a better value.
Yeah. All right. What else? Anything else that?
There are. We didn't talk about we're talking about detached guest house.
Yeah.
Hey, what if I attach it? What if I take a hall and build a long hallway down the yard to the casita? I'm just going to say probably the buildings have to be connected, and the city is going to have to see them as a single connected dwelling.
So we used to have it. We used to have a concept. It's called passing the red face test. That if you were to tell somebody something, as long as your face didn't get red, then you would pass the test. So if you have a attached building, and it's got a 80-foot long hallway connecting it, that wouldn't quite pass the red face test, would it? It'd have to be reasonable. So again, we don't need to get super technical as to lengths of this and that, but obviously, it has to feel attached for it to really be attached.
That's right. And just because if your guest suite is a couple feet away and you think you can just attach it easily, you would want to talk to the city about that, of course. It has to be coded. It goes through the coding. It has to be, through the permitting process. And it's possible in a situation where it's close enough and it makes sense. And I think that's, where you can actually attach it and it flows. It's a part of the main living dwelling. Then basically the appraiser will treat it as one level.
Awesome.
So what else here? And I think it goes to a lot of things. Like we'll get an appraisal, and I'm going to talk about, this is no conspiracy. You know what I mean? This idea that conspiracies are out there when lending. Like, why do the banks do this? Why do the appraisers do this?
I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah.
I just knew it.
Damn appraisers. Everyone's mad at the appraisers usually. And they really are. Appraisers, that's a tough business. They do not, there's no conspiracy to take your value and to chop it into tiny pieces and make you feel bad.
Right. That doesn't do them any good. As far as they're concerned, if they were self-serving, they would keep pumping value up so that they keep getting more and more transactions in our wonderful real estate market. But they're just trying to do their job.
Yeah, they're looking at those values and they're using comparable sales. There's a reason why they do it. It doesn't make sense at face value. Okay, I agree with most people. A lot of things on the appraisals just don't make sense. But after you hear appraisers defend their position, it's kind of like this aha moment. Like, oh, that's why you do that.
Right.
And I think this is one of those.
Awesome.
All right.
I think we hit it all.
Everyone subscribe if you want to continue to receive this, and have a great week. Time to go home.
Let's go home. Let's call it a day.
Yeah.
We'll see you, folks.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Mortgage Brothers Show. Please let us know if you have any questions you'd like us to answer on this podcast. You can email your questions to tom@azmortgagebrothers.com or yours truly at eddie@azmortgagebrothers.com. And be sure to ask us for a free quote on your next mortgage. Tom and I will personally work with you and help you through the whole process. Signature Home Loans, LLC does not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. This material has been prepared for informational purposes only. You should consult your own tax, legal, and accounting advisors before engaging in any transaction. Signature Home Loans, NMLS 1007154, NMLS number 210917 and 1618695, Equal Housing Lender.